Welcome to Sheepdog Nation Podcast, the only place on the internet where law enforcement and their families can come to be understood, supported, and stood up for. Here's your host, the always entertaining, down-to-earth, yet in-your-face truth speaker and Leo herself, Autumn Schmidt.
What is up, Sheepdog Nation? Welcome to another episode of Sheepdog Nation with your host, me, Autumn Schmidt. I'm really excited to have you here today. We have a kick-ass interview. We are actually interviewing a female officer. She works out in Michigan. I'm really excited. You may know her on social media. She has quite a large Instagram following. Her name is Officer Rosegold. And if you are not following her on Instagram, you need to. So Officer Rosegold. And her first name is Ashley. And Ashley, I'm so excited to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me. I have been with my police department, which is Detroit, for about 2 years now. As you can see, if you do follow my Instagram, you can see that I also do my artist work. I specialize in taxidermy, bone maceration, and I also have basically a zoo at my house of animals that I rescue. I started plucking them off the streets.
That's cool. That's cool. That's awesome. So you've been on the job for 2 years. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what's been your experience as a cop?
Yeah. So I mainly joined Detroit Police Department because, as you guys can see, I have a lot of visible tattoos. I actually lived in Virginia for a couple of years before and tried to do it out there, but they're a little bit more strict. So when I came back here to do police work in Detroit, I knew what I was getting into. I knew how hard it was going to be, and I knew the kind of respect that people gave the Detroit officers. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I got that alpha female complex. I'm like, yeah, if I can do it, everyone can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So since I've been on, I have learned more than I think most officers in the suburban areas, not to bash them or anything, but will see or kind of experience in a couple years.
Mm.
Well, I feel like I'm a seasoned vet and I'm not.
But so tell us about that. Like, tell us what makes you feel like that. Is it the calls for service? It's what you see.
So usually when we're like in the academy, or even when we talk about Detroit officers and stuff, they always say it's a really good place to start your career. I mean, obviously nobody wants to leave the department. We kind of want you to stay, but it's definitely a great experience just because of what you get to see. So it's not always good, but it's a lot. So I've probably dealt with more homicides than what most people will ever see in their whole career. Mm-hmm. It's not a positive thing, but however, it's a realistic aspect of the city. We have a lot of shootings, a lot of gang-related shootings. We have a lot of child abuse cases, and domestic violence right now is kind of our center of what we're trying to minimize and work with. We actually just upgraded those to priority 1 calls. So those are the ones that we respond to, right away. I think you guys have the same system, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we upgraded all that stuff to priority 1. So we deal with it right away. And I never thought we had this much going on, but we do. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we have so much positive stuff that's been happening. Have you heard about our green light program?
I don't think so. Tell us.
So the city decided to basically expand the security beyond just policing. Downtown in our central area, kind of like the business district, we have a lot of cameras everywhere. We monitor things. We make sure the streets are safe, and we started branching that out into other areas to help with the crime. And it has honestly been one of the best tools, especially for us officers, because I get to review that footage if I need it. And we're being monitored by other cops while we're there. So it's kind of like a backup without a backup. But a lot of the gas stations, the party stores and stuff like that, they now have the green lights. It's like a flashing green light in the building. And they have the cameras, and it's real life viewing, and people are constantly monitoring their businesses. So if something goes astray or crazy, we're there right away. And then we know that we're being watched. Or if, like, let's say we had a shooting. Actually, we did have one. That was in the news I think like over a year ago. Mm-hmm. It was like the girl that was dressed up like the cowgirl or whatever.
Yeah.
and she was shooting at a car, and because of our green lights and the HD and everything, we were able to figure out who she was and get her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me, just, I'm like super curious, like what's your guys' academy like?
Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
Yeah.
As soon as you bring it up, I have PTSD of like the running. So every class is different. My class was notorious for running. I think I did more running at the academy than I ever have in my entire life. I can honestly say that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the academy is anywhere from like 4.5 to 7.5 months. It all kind of depends on your class, and how fast you're able to get the stuff done, or if your class needs more time. So when I first started, it was brutal. I feel like my class demographics was so different than all the other ones I was seeing. Because when I started, they were going through their like mass hiring phase. And there was like 6 other classes, and each class has like 30 something people in it, or 50, depending on how big. So you got like hundreds of people that kind of like look the same, like age range, a lot of males, a couple females in each class. And then you had like my class, which had like, I had someone who was like 50 years old. I had, 18-year-olds, because you can be 18 and be a cop in Detroit. We had people just graduated high school. Then you got people me with tattoos. And we were like a misfit class. And I swear we would get in trouble all the time. Yeah. So you want to talk about being fit. That's the way to do it. But yeah, it was definitely really good training. We trained like with SWAT. It's not really called SWAT for us, but that's what I call it.
Yeah.
The SRT and all that.
That's what we call it, SRT.
Yeah, I kind of just brought them all under that. And then, we did a lot of like real life type of training. I mean, they started remodeling the academy when I was there. So we practiced like entering houses and all that other stuff. We practiced the shooting at the shooting range. The driving was fun. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
You like that? Oh man, that was my worst. My favorite was defensive tactics. My worst ever was driving. The serpentine kicked my ass.
Wait, what is it called when you go backwards through the cones?
Oh, well, that's the reverse serpentine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to do that in the old Crown Vic, which we don't even drive anymore.
Yeah, me too.
And I had the sergeant in my seat and the instructor, and I was like, I'm really short. I'm only 5'5". So I'm like trying really hard to look through the back window and hold the wheel and turn it, and the wheel slipped out of my hand. And I did like a full like 360 with the car. And the sergeant was screaming the whole time the car spun.
That is funny. Yep.
I thought I was going to crash.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounded a lot like me, actually. Now, did you live there? Is the academy like live in, or is it like college atmosphere? Like, how is that?
No. So a couple years ago, it used to be you have to live in the city to work for the city. And then a lot of people were like, that's a bad idea. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. The city is really only livable like in the business districts. So I think they kind of realize that. I mean, there's still beautiful parts of the city, like in the outskirts, but there's just so much like crap that they're trying to fix right now. It's just best to stay out of it, especially if you work for it.
Yeah, I find that too. I definitely don't like living in the city that I patrol, because then how do you turn off? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
or what if you get followed home? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have so many like drive-bys and shootings. Like that's the last thing you need is your house getting shot up.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because someone knows you're a cop. I mean, we just had a firefighter's home get broken into and they murdered him.
Are you serious?
We did, yeah. We did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know. It feels like I'm talking about like so much bad because I just want people to know it's really not like bad, but the realistic views from a cop standpoint is it is.
Well, that's what we're looking for. Yeah.
That's kind of the point I'm giving here. But so anyway, the academy, I actually tried to join in 2014 and they told me no. I don't know why. Still to this day, I don't know why. I need to call someone about that. I tried applying again and they were like, I had to fight my way in. They're like, why did you have so many jobs? I'm like, because I'm a teen. I don't know. Why'd you move so much? I don't know. Because I like moving. They were like, all right, we'll give you the job. About damn time.
Now, your academy, do you stay there? Like,
no. It's like a Monday through Friday thing.
Okay.
I think really the only academy that's like that where you live there and stuff is going to be the state police here, which their academy is way harder than ours. I think it goes like, in my viewpoint, it goes like state troopers, then it goes Detroit, and then it goes like, I guess all the college academies underneath that.
Yep.
I mean, Detroit's pretty recognizable, but we do like, it depends on, I guess, your tax staff. We call them tax staff, like tax sergeant.
Okay.
And I think mine was 7 to like, what would be like 7 to 3, 7 to 4, around there. It kind of depends.
That's cool. Still pretty. Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
I think my phone was just ringing. My bad.
Oh. No. That's okay. So Ashley, can you tell us, like, I always like to ask this question. Tell us about like one of the most stressful situations you've ever been to pertaining to the job.
So I got your email, right? And I was really sitting there and I was thinking about it this morning. And I'm like, oh, how do I pinpoint all the crap? As you know, I just had my sergeant die. I have, shootings and homicides and child abuse. It's like, which one is the worst? Because they're all stressful. But I can honestly say the most stressful situation that I've dealt with recently, it was a little over a month or two ago. I had a barricaded gunman, which weirdly I have a lot of. And I actually just got my certified for my rifle and everything, so I carry my rifle now on duty. I shot better than all the boys in my class, by the way.
Hey, and let me just tell you something that happens a lot, boys, because I have a really good shot too.
Yeah, I shot better than all the guys. I was pretty proud. But so me and my partner were, because I have a permanent partner now, me and him were hunting through the neighborhoods looking for stolen cars, which are a lot of like vacant houses and stuff, and I found one. And I seen it tucked back in this garage, and I was like, yes! I was like, another one for the day. So we're going back there, and it's stripped. It doesn't have an engine. It was a Charger. And I run the VIN, and it comes back stolen. And as soon as I'm sitting in the car getting ready to call it for a tow, I hear priority 1, shots fired. And I knew the voice, and it was somebody else who worked with me, and my heart just like sank, because I've been in that situation where I've had to call that out. And I knew who it was. I knew my sergeant was there, and I knew other officers were there. And I was like, holy shit, who got shot? So I left the stolen car. We fly over to the location, and I pulled up. I can't remember the direction of the house, but I know I was on, like, if you're looking at the house, I was on the left side of it on the street. And my sergeant and their cars were on the right side of the house. And I get out, and I remember the ride there, though. We're trying to get more information, and the officer calls out, the shots fired was actually from somebody coming out of the house, shooting somebody in front of them, and then going back in the house.
Oh my gosh.
And the person who was shot was still out front. And we're like, holy shit. And they actually retreated, and they didn't fire any shots just yet, because the person goes back in the house, and that's when they called it out. And I hear them on the radio. They're like, we got one male down. Send everybody. The person's back in the house. And they weren't really sure yet who that person was, because it was at night and there's no streetlights here. And so the whole ride there, I'm grabbing my rifle, and I'm grabbing my magazine, and I'm sliding it in, racking it in, you know what I mean? And I'm just communicating with my partner. I go, when we get there, we're going to pull up to the side of the house. I'm going to take, front point the best I can, because he doesn't have a rifle. He has a shotgun, and that's not really idealistic for this situation. And I just remember my heart pounding so hard, like it was my first day again. Because it's like, when you know these situations are coming, you know it's not going to be good. Like, every time I've had something like this, I knew it wasn't going to be good. And they never turn out to be good. Someone dies. Someone gets shot. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. So we get there. And I ran up to my sergeant's car, which was in front of me. It was a couple feet in front of me. And everybody is behind the cars. Everyone's looking at the house, screaming on the radio. The helicopter's here now. And soon as I pull up my rifle, and I have like the perfect shot at the front door. I can see everything. So I call myself basically front point right now. I as I'm sitting there, I'm shaking uncontrollably
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, today's the day. Like, this is the day I'm going to have to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And am I ready for this? And I remember like standing there and I see all the other officers from all the other precincts, because that's how we do. When one goes, we all go. And they started communicating with other precincts. We had like, all our boarders were there. We had people surrounding the whole house. And at this point, we were able to have an officer go up, get the person, medic, and then they drove. This was the funniest thing. They put him in the scout car, and it was a rookie that put him in the car and then took off without his partner to the hospital.
Oh, boy.
He knew he was supposed to do that, but his partner didn't. She was like, where's my partner? I'm like, they left. Direct, because we couldn't get EMS in there. And so I'm staying there, okay, and I need to get my body cam footage because I'm literally talking to myself. I remember my gun feeling so heavy. It's so important to exercise your arms, I'm telling you, because in situations like this, my gun felt so heavy. So I'm like leaning on the headlight, like what is that called? The lamp, basically, that you turn, the spotlight. There we go. I'm leaning my gun in the spotlight, and I'm at the front door, and you hear me talking to myself. I'm going, all right, Ross, today's the day. This is the day. I'm like, breathe, stop shaking. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like talking to myself all the time. I'm like, do I see anything? What do you see? And I'm hearing everyone on the radio. And all of a sudden, this motherfucker comes out the front door. He comes out the front door. His hands are half up. And I mean, I have like, I'm aimed in. You know what I mean? I'm
Obviously.
like,
yeah.
I had a perfect shot. And I'm waiting. Because I'm waiting for me to see something, for him to like, just anything. And he puts his hands half up and we're screaming. There has to be like 100 officers yelling at him to put his hands up. And he put them down. And he's just standing on the front porch, just staring at everybody. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And he's just standing there. He's walking back and forth. And then he sits down at the chair on the porch. And then he goes back in the house. And the best part is the officers in the backyard didn't know there was a dog.
Great.
A dog comes running out, and they tried to hop the fence, and one of them got stuck.
Oh, my God.
So it's a shit show right now at this point. You know, we got 2,400 on scene. You know, the helicopters are watching us. And so we knew a female came out of the house, and she's in the back of my scout car right now, cuffed in the back of my car. We knew who the shooter was. We thought it was a male. It wasn't. We didn't know the whole time the female's in my car. The male that is inside this house was, I believe, the grandfather. And he didn't give two shits about us. And he didn't want to communicate. So we're thinking the whole time it's this guy. But we knew there was another child in the house, a 14-year-old girl. And we were like, shit. So obviously we're not going to shoot the house up.
Right.
After about, I want to say 10 minutes goes by, the female comes outside, you know, just sheer panic. And my sergeant yells for me to stand down and give my rifle to my partner and come with him. And the girl comes, you know, walking backwards towards us. I cuff her, and she's just hysterical. And it's so funny because I'm so short. She was like 14 and she was way bigger than me. And I'm like looking up at her. I'm like, it's okay, honey. Trying to calm her down. She can't even like breathe. And I have to run her to our SRT team, not SRT, basically our tactical team, our TSS team, which is like half a block down the street stage. So I'm like screaming for a car to come to me so I can put her in and get her out of the, you know, the area, the red zone. And I'm like running down the street with this little 14-year-old in cuffs. And then I get her in the car and I'm like running back. Like, it was like some shit out of a movie. So I get back up and I get my rifle. And at this time, I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. I'm like, this is the shit you only see in movies. I'm like, holy crap. And then this motherfucker comes back outside with his hands down. I'm aimed in again. Then he sits on the front steps. And at this point, my sergeant's trying to negotiate with him. Not even negotiate, but just like talk to him. You know, my sergeant's standing in front of my car, so I'm lower down, and he's like, you know, man, step off the porch, and the guy's yelling like, why should I listen to you guys? And eventually we were able to talk him off the porch and cuff him.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know who the shooter was until basically on my way to the jail to drop this woman off. We finally got it all figured out because there were so many cops. It was like really hard to communicate, especially on the radio, because I'm yelling about the guy with his hands. You got people yelling in the back about a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to listen for anyone to yell fire or hold your aim. You know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up taking this lady to jail, and I go to search her at the jail, and she goes, "Officer, I want to let you know, but I shit myself." And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "When did you do that?" She goes, "When you officers came in the house with your gun, I just shit myself." Just like I was like, "You've been sitting in it the whole time." And I told everyone at the jail, and they were so mad at me. They were like, "Oh no." But she was so calm.
And she was the shooter?
From what I know.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't dig more deep into that. I was an assisting unit, but from what I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I've like, that situation, like I've had way more other stressful situations, but something about that one stuck with me for so long. Like that was at like the end of the night too. So I literally went back to the precinct, like everything was normal, and I had to drive home. I remember just driving home in silence. And I was like, I almost killed somebody today, which, you know, I've come close to that, but today it felt different. It just felt different. I don't know.
And so, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go right ahead.
Well, no, I just wanted to say like that. Obviously, you do a very good job of depicting that picture in my head because I can I feel like I can see it all, and that obviously does sound like an extremely stressful situation. And like what I want society, you know, to know, and I want civilians to understand is this isn't like once in a career. This isn't like once a year, especially for like where you live. This happens so often. And what Ashley, you just said it really like struck a chord with me. Is you said, you know, on my ride home, I rode home in silence. And I can't tell you how many times I've had those, you know, rides home in silence off shift, you know, just complete, I need silence because there's so much going on in my head right now. Or, you know, I just kind of need to be numb for a minute and just, you know, numb the pain or like whatever I just saw and like what the feelings I just had. And I just want all the officers listening to this, like, I know that you've had that, or if you're a rookie, you will have this. And, you know, the biggest takeaway from this conversation that I want you to have is that you are normal. It is so normal to have that. And it's so normal. Like Ashley said, she's like, I was shaking. Well, I can tell you this, Sheepdog Nation, like, because you shake, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you, you know, any less of a cop. Like I shook, like there were so many hot calls that I had to deal with that. Like, you know, I had my gun out and like, I definitely thought I really was 100% convinced like this is it. And I'm shaking because I'm like, just like Ashley, like, this is it. Holy cow. Like, I really don't want to do this. I know I signed up to do this. Like, I know that I can, but damn it, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to. Don't make me do this, you know? And
that's what it felt like. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And like, those are the thoughts, you know, and those are the thoughts that, you know, we have. And, but you're just not alone. And so thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing that. Now, one thing I want to ask for you, and like, cause I really love to pass this on to other officers, is there something that you do specifically to deal with like the stress that you know, like you feel? Like,
big
go ahead.
time.
Go ahead.
So I have two different lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of blend them together a little bit on Instagram. So, because I want people to see the real me. Mm-hmm. Like I was telling you earlier, I don't fake myself online. I'm not a half-ass cop. When I put out there is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So when I come home, I take my gear off and I hang it up, and I'm me at home, Ashley. I'm not work Ashley anymore. My house is filled with my art. I've been doing, you know, kind of like, I don't want to call it creepy art because it's not creepy to me. Yeah. But to some people it's creepy. I deal like with bones and stuff like that. I make beautiful pieces of work. I come home and I listen to Fleet Macwood and I light all my candles and take my crystal baths and I watch my horror movies. It's like when I come home, I indulge in the things that I love and the things that make me me. And I use that to kind of separate those two worlds. And that's how I manage to stay sane, basically.
And I love this. I love this. And I just want to say something really quickly. So, Ashley, you just brought up, like, you have like your own kind of spirituality, whatever it is. Like, and I think as officers, like, we all need to have our own kind of spirituality. And I don't care what it is, whether you believe in God or whether you believe in the universe or whatever you believe in, have something that you do. You just said you like to take crystal baths. I do too. I'm very big. I tell Sheepdog Nation all the time, meditate. I talk to angels. Like, and when I was on the road, I did, and I would talk, and I would tell all the guys I worked with, and they would all look at me like I was a loony, and I am a loony, but I'd be like, listen, you need to take your angels on this call. Call in Archangel Michael, and that's Saint Michael for a lot of you. I'm to call in Archangel Michael. Like, we need to do this. And like, I always, in my pocket, I always had crystal. I always had a crystal in my pocket. Like, and you need it, those things. And like what you said is so key. And Sheepdog Nation, I'm underlining this and like exclamation marking this, because Ashley just said, I do the things that make me me. And this is the thing, is that so many times, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience, I'm speaking from taking, my clients who are officers, and on the life coaching calls that we have, and just what I've seen in general is so many times we lose ourselves completely to this job. It just takes us over. We completely lose our identity. I'm no longer Autumn. I am Officer Autumn. And that is it, and here's the thing. Social media doesn't fucking help that. And like, that's what that's what I love about you, Ashley. And that's really what drew me to you, is that, you are eclectic. It's not all about you being a cop. It's all these other things, that's me. And I love that, because there's so much more to me, than just law enforcement. You know what I mean? There's so much, and so much more to you, and so much more to every officer, listening to this. There's so much more to us. And so, thank you for sharing that. And it's so huge. And so Sheepdog Nation, pay attention to that, and like, sit down. This is a really good time for you to, even just hit the pause button and just sit down and like take an evaluation right now and be like, okay, what are the things I'm doing that are me? And like, what are the things I'm doing because I'm a cop, or like, I think I need to be doing, or, I just get in the habit of doing, and like, I'm doing things without thinking. It's a really good time to sit down and figure that out, because I'm going to tell you this right now, especially if you're, if you have a partner, and Ashley, I'm sure you can contest to this, your partner is going to love you a hell of a lot more when you stay true to who you are,
Yep.
Because that's who they sign up for. They sign up for, like your spouse actually signed up for Ashley. I know Adam, my husband, he signed up for Autumn. He did not sign up for Officer Autumn, and yours either. Like, that's who they sign up for. So
exactly.
I think that's going to diminish a lot of problems. So thank you for saying that. And do you have any advice that you would give to rookies?
Yeah, I have a couple things, and I'm going to speak from experience too. So kind of just backtracking on what you said and what we were talking about. They emphasize that in our academy big time. Like, that in communication with your family and spouse. So cops have like a huge divorce rate. It's about 80%, I believe. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen what it does to people. As you know, oh, my cat's biting the phone. Stop. I've seen it firsthand, and it's heartbreaking when you get lost in the job. You got to take the time to recoup. When you first start off, you're all about like, yeah, you're excited. I call it that one SpongeBob meme where he's all shiny and he looks like a brand new sponge. That's a rookie. And I'm Squidward.
True. I love this analogy.
Yeah. So that's what I look at it. And that's okay to be happy, and it's okay to be excited, because that's the job. Don't let anyone take that from you. But at the same time, take some time in between your runs. Really let what happened soaked in. Learn from what you just did. Take the time, whether you got to write it down in a book somewhere or even talk about it with another officer. Share your experiences, but also don't be consumed by them. Slow down. Everybody gets out here and they want to go so fast. They want to go, 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 go. I'm still kind of like that, but my partner has to remind me, slow down. These people are still going to be here. We're still going to be here. Your safety is so important in this job. And when it comes to safety, communication falls in line with that. You know, my partner, whenever we get in an argument or a fight, or when I have to cuss another officer out, it's always about safety and communication. And communication is the other half of that. You have to communicate on the job and at home with your family, okay? The shit you're going to go through is hard. This job isn't meant for everybody. If it was, everybody would be doing it. This job is meant for the strongest, and that's what it means to be a sheepdog. I'll throw that one in there. You know, the strongest, the ones that are willing to put their feelings aside, you know, their thoughts aside to protect society and, you know, everybody in it. But you can't go through the hard shit and then keep it all in. So when you're new, talk about it. You know, it doesn't got to be like the center of attention with your family all the time, but tell someone what you dealt with, man. I come home and I've cried. I'll be the first to admit it. I've seen male officers cry in front of me. Okay. Shit's hard. And it's not always going to be the big things that are hard for you. It's going to be the little things, the little decisions you have to make that you're going to learn from. Tell somebody about it. If you keep it in, it's going to fuck you up. You're going to have nightmares. You're not going to eat right. You're not going to sleep right. You're going to feel like crap and you can't do your job right. It's going to affect every part of your life, you know, and kind of tying into that with the whole nightmare thing, rookies, you're going to have them. It's normal. Okay. It's very normal. I had them. My partner has them. You know, they're not as bad as when I first started, but you're going to have the anxiety of like, if I ever get shot or you're going to have the dreams constantly when you're trying to shoot somebody and or shoot something and your gun doesn't work. It's like a wet noodle. Or the bullets are so small. They're like little BBs.
Man, I tell you, those cop dreams, they're real. They happen all the time. All the time. You know what?
They happen less when you talk about what you're going through.
True. Yep.
So communicate, safety, slow down. Okay. Slow the fuck down, please, for Christ's sakes. I just had 5 new people just start like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
I feel like a mom all over again. They split me and my partner up. So I'm like, I'm working with new people who are fresh out and I'm just like, slow down. Please, you guys are killing me. Yep.
It's true. I love that. I really love that, the slowing the down. And it's so on another episode, if we interviewed Mark Devine actually, and he is the author of The Unbeatable Mind, and he's the founder of SEAL Fit. Actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but so his book is unbelievable, and he talks about slowing the mind down, and what he recommends, and this is just so simple, and even Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman, he recommended this too, it's the tactical breathing and the box breathing, and it's shit you can do while, like, all the time. Like, you just get on, you know, you just go what we call 10-8, but you go in service, you know, right on shift, and you know, you just breathe for a minute, and then throughout your day, and like, you breathe and you be in the moment, be present, and that's going to slow everything down. It's when we try to get ahead of ourselves, because, you know, as officers, you know, we have to multitask, and we think we got to do all these things and be all these places. But the thing is, Sheepdog Nation, and I'm not saying that we don't have to multitask to some extent, and we have to do it in pretty scary ways, and I understand that, but we also want to be completely where we're at too, right? Like, when we're dealing with these calls and we're dealing with these people, like, we want to be fully there for them. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is, like what Ashley's saying, is like, slow down, and you don't need to be at the next call in your head and how you're going to handle it. You know, you need to be where you're
robot.
Exactly. Yeah. We need less robots in law enforcement, you know? Good. Ashley, do you have anything else to leave Sheepdog Nation with before we we end this?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a few things kind of about my city and my job in general. So I know we talked about some stressful things and a lot of the bad. I did want everyone to know there's a lot of good. So I know a lot of females out there, go females. I get more messages from females than anything. It's crazy. I think my majority of my following base is males, but the females, man, always are the ones that reach out to me.
I love that.
And
it's the opposite for me.
Anyone that's been thinking about coming to Detroit, you know, it's a great city to work for.
Mm.
I experienced so much and I've learned so much. I could probably go anywhere right now and I feel like I'm talking shit and boosting my own ego, but I feel like I would know how to do more things than.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing though. It's not a bad thing. Not saying, I'm better, but what I am saying is the experience here. The experience is phenomenal. Sometimes I feel invincible, even though I'm not. I'm like, I can do it. Because I just like, you could throw me in a shooting scene and I could just do everything myself. I'm like, I got it. I'll talk to everyone. Yep. I'll knock on doors. I'll call the Emmy. Like, I just know how to do it all. I'm like, is this person breathing? And, but at the same time, we have so much good going on. So Dan Gilbert, as you know, has been buying everything, which is a good thing. So we've actually started tearing down the vacant houses. Most people, when they think of Detroit, they think of like the rundown homes, which it's true. It's what you see in the pictures is what it looks like. That's on the outside though. The inside has been rebuilt. The city is phenomenal. We've opened like 200 restaurants. I mean, the crime rate downtown has gone down so much since our Greenlight project too. We have torn down so many vacant houses and they're still coming down. And when I say vacant house, I mean like houses with no stairs, flooded basements, the kind of places that are shady where sometimes somebody might end up. You know what I mean? Every time I drive through my precinct, there's another house gone. And it's good. They're houses that can't be saved. And the ones that can be, people are starting to buy them and rent them and fix them up. So our crime rate has been going up and down. We were number 1 for a hot minute this year. And then I think we dropped again. And we've been doing a lot of proactive stuff in the community. Our ceasefire teams, which really help working with people who are struggling with gang violence. We have that going on. We have so many outreach programs now. Like our domestic violence lady at our precinct is phenomenal. Anytime, which is a lot, I do with domestic violence, I'm sending people to her. And she helps them like get new houses, cars, jobs, clothes for their kids. I mean, so we have a lot of bad going on, but we're being productive with it. We are coming up with new ways, new things. And the best part about working for Detroit is you can do all those things within your first year on the job. So we have like the wheel programs, the detective unit where you can go for like 90 days and try it out. You can go to special ops for 90 days. If they like you, you can stay. I mean, you can go anywhere you want. And the opportunity there's no limit to it here. And that's why I like working where I do.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to highlight some of the good stuff because I don't want people to think it's all bad. It's not all bad. It's pretty bad. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like cops, it's really bad. Civilians, it's not that bad. I promise. You guys don't have to see it.
Right.
And it's for people like us who fight in the dark.
That's right. And it probably caters a lot to the people who actually want to get out there and, get into the shit. I mean, like they say, being a police officer, you got the front row ticket to the best show in life, and probably, working in a city like that, you definitely, and just like you said too, we had, in Maine, where I started, my agency, due to the lack of resources and lack of officers, I took more calls for service than any other officer would take, like in their shifts and like when they were working. And so like the experience I got, which obviously it's not Detroit, Michigan, but I mean, the experience I got comparatively, just like what you're saying, was definitely, it really helped me in my career. And so when I switched and I transferred, I moved a couple hours down south, like the things that I knew and had handled, veteran officers were like just kind of getting the hang of things, where I was like, no, like I know how to handle this. I take three domestic violence calls and arrests in one shift. Like I know what that's like, and so that's obviously like what you're saying, which is excellent. So if we have any, people looking to get in, it sounds like Detroit, Michigan would be a lot of fun. You'd see a lot of stuff.
You can have tattoos too.
That's badass.
Oh my gosh. You can see I got my hands tatted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure not everyone agrees with it. I know a lot of other places are like, you can't have that. But as long as they're not gang related or anything crazy, you're good to go. I'm an artist. I believe in the art. I have my own art on my body. That's why I love it. Detroit is so supportive of us as well.
I love that.
Yeah, especially females. We need more female officers.
Yes, we do.
Hit me up. I will do everything I can to help you guys out if you're here in Michigan and you're thinking about it. Whether it's with Detroit or anywhere else, I have a lot of people I talk to. We can find a perfect fit for you.
Yep, absolutely. I do. I know. I couldn't agree more. We need a lot more squared away female officers in the job. So, Ashley, thank you so much for being here. We totally appreciate it. This is an excellent episode. People are going to get a lot out of this. And again, Sheepdog Nation, you can follow Ashley on her Instagram. She's very active. It's at Officer Rosegold on Instagram. Yep. Thank you again, Ashley.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm always about having squared away, officers on the show. We need more.
And that was another episode of Sheepdog Nation. If you enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes and let us know by giving us a rating. If you have questions that you want answered by Autumn in the podcast, submit it by going to the link in the show notes. As always, stay safe and watch your six.